Hello and welcome. I am Lav, and we're going to be talking about. Oh no, we're going to be talking about a lot of things. Um, I'm going to be showing like this is going to be a guide on how to hike. I think I'm going to have like two different sections. It's going to be hiking long distance, and then like we're going to do day hiking stuff. I think to kick this all off, we're going to be talking about what I personally like to have on the trail when I go out on a hike. I'm going to be talking about and showing you all the different gear that I took on my Appalachian Trail through hike. I have my guidebook when I hike the Appalachian Trail, so we can actually walk through the miles that I did because I have written down every day that I like set up camp. So you get to see how much I did. I don't know if we're going to get that today in this particular video, but I do have that. Um, but to start, let's change our hats. So we're going to take off the whole ASMR hat and put on our adventure hat. No, that's not going to work. Anyways, let's get to it. All right, first off, I got this guy. This is my day pack. This is if I just want to go out for a day, and I'm talking about like I am hiking anywhere between 2 miles, 4 miles, 8 miles, and probably a good 16, 17 miles. I like, and I've used this for like a 20-mile day. It's a good size backpack. It is a 24 liter, I believe, whatever 24 means on an Osprey backpack. It's an Osprey. There's a lot of things I like about this pack in particular. The main thing that I like about it is the mesh here. There's a mesh thing. Let's see if we can get it up close. There's a pocket. You have this whole mesh thing that lays on your back. That makes it really comfortable to have. I mean, look, you'll still get hot, but it's really comfortable. And that's the first thing I like to grab. We'll talk about clothes later. But inside there, in my first pocket, something I always have is I have a bug net. Because I don't like bugs at all. It's a tiny little pouch. It's a $10 easy, cheap thing that you can get that you just grab and you throw it on top of you. And this isn't for mosquitoes so much as gnats. I have had to clean out so many gnats because they buzz around your eyes so much. And oh my goodness, you like when you get a gnat in your eye, you have to take your water bottle. You gotta open it up, and then you gotta pour water to flush it out. Or else it just gets stuck underneath your eyelid, and you're just like, oh my goodness, I am having the worst day. And I've had to do that in one day 4 times. 4 times flushing out each a different little bug. That's why I always have one of these. You don't like having a hat keeps it off your face. You don't need a hat. You can just throw that. Anytime I leave the house to go on a hike, always have one of these. I mean, like I'll even have it when in the winter, but like I don't need it in the winter because there's no bugs. But oh my goodness, I love it. Your particular area may not have gnats as bad as my area, but that is something I love. It keeps them out of my eyes. It's so bad. All right. The next thing in my top pouch is my headlamp. Like even if you're hiking during the day, this is a safety thing. You have a nice little bright light. This is a very nice one. you have a red light. It dims. It switches to flood and pointing. It's a very good. If you have a headlamp, like they come in all different varieties, all in different pricing. This one, if you hold it down, it locks so it doesn't turn on. Like if you see a little blue flashing thing there, that means that it's locked. It means if you press the button, it doesn't turn on. It saves your batteries. It's very, very nice. I'm turning it back on just because I'm being crazy because I might need that later. All right. And the last I have backup batteries for the headlamp because that's actually running low. But it's a good safety thing to have extra batteries. The last thing in this backpack that I carry is a water filter. This is a it's a Sawyer Flow, very cheap, very straightforward water filter. And how that one works, I think I'll have another video, or I'll talk about it later on in this one, where I am filtering water. So basically, I have a tiny bottle here. These come with pouches that aren't that easy to use. I like to have this tiny bottle. You fill it with water, preferably from something that's pouring in. Like if you have like a bunch of rocks, you like put it there, you fill it up. It's really good. Then you take this, you screw it on, you take the cap off, you get your Nalgene, and then you just squirt it. You gotta close it. Make sure, because you don't want the dirty water to touch the tip because you don't want to like contaminate your water. And this is important because you do not want microorganisms in your water, which are like, what are they called? Giardia and stuff like that. This one tells me it filters out up to 0.1 microns of so like there's hollow tubes that you filter the water through, and it catches everything else. Moving on to the big pouch, because I think I don't have anything in the other pouch. I mean, like varying, I might pack a little pocket knife, but pocket knife is less essential. Yeah, okay, that's one of the things I carry in there. And this is just for a day hike. The next thing I have is I have a food bag. You don't probably, like for a day hike, you don't need all this. Like you could just grab a couple, like a couple energy bars or Cliff Bars, something, granola, a treat, anything that'll give you energy when you need it, because it is essential to have some kind of food when you're out on the trail, even if it's just for a short hike, because you never know if you're going to get lost, if you're going to get hurt, or anything. You just want a little bit of food anytime you leave the house to go into the mountains. Like mine, I have a jet boil that I always carry with me. I love it. It's I'll set it up later. That cooking on the trail is definitely going to be a video. We have things to cook. I mean, like you don't have a stove without things to cook. So in this particular cooking, I have a dehydrated mashed potato, which means you just add boiling water to mashed potatoes. They're instant. I have a packet of tuna, and I have a ramen noodle package. And you usually use these two together. Like, and this is a separate meal, so like one or the other. I wouldn't cook them both in one night unless I was absolutely dying of starvation. But yeah, that's an easy thing to like have with a jet boil, because it takes like 2 cups of water for either the mashed potatoes or the ramen, and that can get you through. That's your lunch. That's your lunch or dinner. What else do I have in here? I have probably good things. I got a jar of peanut butter. Really easy to grab a jar of peanut butter anytime you want to go hiking, because it's just really good. It's got a lot of protein. It's got probably a good amount of sugar too. But like, yeah, peanut butter's great. This is 1 pound. This will get you very far This will feed you for days. If you have like you don't have anything else, you'll get sick of it, but you will have food for days with just like a little, even a little jar of this. It'll last you. That's enough for my stuff. I have an extra long spoon. It's a titanium spoon. It goes great with how deep this is. So I used to have one. I still do, that I took on that trail, and it was about that long from here up. And I was like, I really want a longer spoon, because I was like, here. This is the actual pot that I took on the Appalachian Trail. So like this with a tiny spoon about that, and I'm like, you got to get down in there, and you're like, I don't like this. So now I always have an extra long spoon when it comes to camping pots. Let me put my food away. Okay, the next thing that I take out with me when I go for a hike, toilet paper. I have a roll of toilet paper. It has no inner roll because I take out the cardboard and then I squish it. And I got a little thing of soap. So I always am prepared when nature calls. The other things that I have in this for a day hike, I have kind of a safety bandana. It's bright orange, really nice. And it also has a lot of safety information on here. This is the Appalachian Trail Safety Hanky. You will not be able to read this with my reverse camera. I will post a video of this when I edit it. But it's full of really good stuff. When you need some emergency information. So it's nice to have around. And finally, I have my Appalachian Trail Guide. This is a 2019. It is not the most current year, as this is 2023, the filming of this video. So, but these are still very useful. They keep relatively up to date. The only thing that doesn't up to date is this gives, when you get to like intersections where you can go into towns, they usually give information about businesses. Businesses often close when, like over time, like just naturally, and like, and then new ones open up, and like that's why there's a new one every year. That's why the trail guide needs updating. Also, trails also get redirected. Mileages keep growing and shrinking. And that is basically what I have in my pack for a day trip. And put this all back. Really quick, let's talk about trail poles. Trekking poles, sissy sticks, they've been known to be called. I love them. I always recommend having these because they help keep your balance when you're out there. There's particular ways that I like to have them. I like to use, particularly, something to look for when you get trekking poles. You want the ones that have latches on them. There are ones that you twist to close. Don't get those because they can become untwisted real easy, and then you will absolutely just do that. These lock. You can tighten them. There's little screws that you can like twist, and it makes it tighter. I have mine set at a good length or a good tautness. And these are super useful. They're great for hiking. They keep your balance. They're great for running downhill because you can catch yourself. It's like having 2 extra legs on you. You essentially become a stick bug. And boop, boop, boop. I always remember what my length is for both of those, but there is a particular way I like to use them. So normally I'll hold them about like that. So my palm, let's see if I can do this one-handed. So I got my palm here and I'm wrapped around there. So as I'm going down, I can like just, or I'll have it very far extended from me. So it becomes kind of like a ball and socket joint if it's in my palm. I mean, like, you can always hold it however you want, but that particular rocking motion gets repetitive, and it's easier if it's in your palm. So you're like, ah. But trekking poles, absolutely get them. There are people who don't like them. I'm not telling you that you have to have them. There are people who don't like them for the most part, and you don't have to. Like, one thing about this pack has a couple other extra things that I like about it. It has these outside little snaps, so if I wanted to like carry extra gear, I can loop it through there. It's got the side mesh package, so I can always have the water bottle in there. And it has this loop right here. You can see that now. And it has one down here. That is for storing your trekking poles. So say I want to store them. I got tired of carrying them. Stick them in through here. And then you grab this up here. And they're stored. All right, so let's talk about clothing. First off, I think you've been noticing my stylish hat. This hat is very dear to me because it went 1,000 miles with me. I've had to sew this up quite a few times. You can see the white patches. I need to add more because right now there's a rip that you can kind of see my finger going through that I need to cover up. That's what's been going around there. I've had to re-sew this whole brim back on. I don't know if you can see my handiwork that I've had to do in there. But yeah, it's just a canvas hat. If you want this particular hat, it was... Actually, I don't want to plug that. I mean, they're easy to find. Easy enough. Anyways, this hat is great for the rain. It gives you sun protection, like, all around. There's, like, different... You can grab yourself, like, an ordinary baseball cap. And the thing about a baseball cap that is different from this, one, this baseball cap is going to be a lot cooler because, one, it's mesh. You can see my hand through it. You're going to get more ventilation from it. But you'll get a lot less UV protection. You will get a sunburn like that. Like, because because the sun will come down and it'll only catch like that much of your face. This will protect most of your face and the back of your neck. So having a brim, very good. UV protection. It gets very hot. When it's raining, it is practically an umbrella. It gets a lot stiffer. Like it's solid. It's not like perfectly waterproof, but once it gets solid enough, it's like very effective. Let's move on to some winter gear. These are gloves I wish I had on the trail. Like, they're super wonderful. I got 2 fingers in here and 2 fingers in here. And that keeps my fingers extra warm when they're right next to each other. Because when I have like a regular glove that's individual, when I have like a regular glove compared to like a tri-glove like this, the fingers get really cold really fast. Like mittens are really wonderful to keeping your fingers warm, because you know the whole thing where you take your fingers out and you just like you just want your fingers to be warm, so you take them out and you ball them up. That's basically what this does. It like keeps your fingers warm by having them next to each other. That's why I love these more than this. I mean, like you have less dexterity, but like I would 100% take these. I mean, they're also pretty windproof or wind resistant, I would say, because I think these are made for cycling. That's where I got them, what section I got them in. But you can use them for whatever. I use these for like skiing. They're just so good. I love them. My Ninja Turtle gloves. Next, we're going to talk about winter hats. This is the hat that I took with me on the Appalachian Trail before I got this one, of course. It's fairly warm. It's not itchy. It's straight synthetic. I don't have any regrets for taking it. It went with me the whole way. So this is 2,000 miles got on it. This one, I wish I had. It is way warmer than this one, and I'm not allergic to it. So if you can find yourself a nice knitted hat that like can put up with the rain and the elements, absolutely go grab it. It's so good to have like a really nice hat that keeps you warm. Like you'll be in your sleeping bag, and you'll want to have a hat. Really bad. And like any kind of weather, like yeah, your head gets cold. The wind picks up, like especially early season, mid-season when it's sweltering out. You don't want any of this near you. You're like, oh, get it away from me. All right. Well, this is a buff. It's called a buff. BUFF. And what it does is it's basically a tube. And the special thing about this is it can be a neck warmer. Or it could be a hat. So it is very versatile. This is a very warm one. Early season, you really want a warm one. Later season, you want kind of a... They have very thinner ones that you would absolutely love. Clothing that you might want to wear on the trail. First thing I'm gonna say, very important. Well, actually, no. Let's. First thing that you're gonna want to think about is you're gonna want a nice jacket, a nice fleece jacket. I'm already wearing a fleece jacket, and this is the one that I took with me. It went the entire Appalachian Trail. It was very windproof at the time. it's less so now that it's gone through the wash like a million times. I hiked in 2013. It's 10 years old. It still holds up amazingly. There's like Velcro straps. You can like make your wrist tighter if you want. I never do that. There's the outside pocket. There's inside pockets, but it's just a great outside layer. It's not waterproof, so like this is not what you want to wear in the rain. This was my pillow for the most part, because at night I would take this and I would, even in the summer, I'd zip it up and I would just fold it around and that would be my pillow for the night. I would just... So, fleece jacket. It's good for pretty much any time of year. It's nice to have a fleece jacket in case it suddenly gets cold in the mountains. It's more essential in the winter, or actually fall and spring, I would say. Winter gear, you want like completely heavier duty stuff. The next thing I want to talk about. All right, we have a pair of blue jeans. And then we have a pair of hiking pants. If you're doing 2 miles, 4 miles, probably 6 miles, yeah, you can wear blue jeans. You can absolutely wear whatever you want. Honestly, this is not about telling you what you can and can't do, because ultimately it's your choice. It's what you can afford. It's whatever you feel like doing. Guides like this are about, this is what the downside for doing that is going to be. So first thing to say, blue jeans are going to be heavier on you. You do not want heavy clothing when you're doing longer distances. Your blue jeans are going to wear out faster. Like these particular have a giant hole in them. Right there. These are going to wear out much, much quicker. If they get wet from rain, sweat, falling in the creek, spilling water on yourself, which does happen a lot, these will not dry out very quickly. They will stay wet for a long time, and it is miserable to walk in sopping wet, heavy blue jeans. Like it's miserable to be walking around in sopping wet anything, but like some materials are much nicer to walk in. Like that. This is why you don't bring cotton or any wool is not great either. It depends on what wool you're using, because like I use merino wool for my socks. But what you're gonna want, from experience, and what I always wear when I leave the house, is a pair of nice hiking pants. Like these are kind of like, they're synthetic material. They dry super quickly. There are some hiking pants that are cooler than others. They're also more durable. They last longer, in my opinion. I've had pants that have lasted years, and then they finally die on me, and I'm like, no, I love these pants. But these are particularly good because they are convertible. You don't necessarily need to have convertible pants to be comfortable. You can just get yourself a pair of shorts. There are many hikers who just have running shorts, and that's their pants. Is they just running shorts. I like the full pants because there's sometimes I want a little bit more warmth for my legs. Sometimes I want to put on legs, because these can like zip off, and then I can unzip all the way around. and then completely take off a leg. And then we have one leg pants, which become shorts. And something about that is you kind of want to be able to like take them off because you'll get too hot. It happens all the time. You get too hot, you want to take a leg off, you cool down. You get into high weeds that are like whipping at your legs, and you want to like there's something to really consider, because keeping your legs on the pant legs, because there are pests that you do not want on you, that having long legs keeps them from getting on you, such as mosquitoes for one. In my area and all along the Appalachian Trail, there are such thing called ticks, which have a disease in them that if they latch onto you for like 24 hours or something like that, they can pass it on to you, and then it can get really bad if you do not treat it. Like, it's debilitating. So yeah, there are reasons that you might want to have this. It also protects you from the sun, of course, because then you're not getting sunburnt. However, you have a lot of canopy in the Appalachian Trail, but not necessarily all trails are the same, and not all sections are the same. So always consider what you're going to be doing, and where you're going to be doing it, and what time of year you're going to be doing it in, and what animals or plants you need to worry about. Poison ivy. This will protect you from poison ivy. Just because it's not your bare shins running up through high weeds that grow along the trails, and they're just whipping at you. So yeah, they're like pests and stuff. Like, so having legs can be beneficial, but it can also be extra weight that you don't want to carry. It can be too hot for you, and that's perfectly fine. If you want to like just have normal shorts, like running shorts, like sports running shorts, the one that have like the inner mesh into them, and it's like, yeah, absolutely go for it. There is nothing wrong with that. There are pros and cons to whatever you do. You're never going to have like the perfect symmetry. The best symmetry is the one that works for you. The one you're willing to put up with, because the one you're going to have the worst time at, like, you can do blue jeans. You can hike blue jeans through the whole Appalachian Trail if you absolutely wanted to, because there was once upon a time you didn't have tech fabric and people still hike that trail. But nowadays you have the option to, and it is a perfectly good option. You are going to be more miserable and wet if you have like things that do not dry out quickly, because you will get wet. It will rain. It will like you will sweat a lot. Even when it's cold out, you will sweat. Okay, on the same topic, you don't want to be wearing a shirt that has that is not a synthetic shirt. This is a nice button shirt, very much like the one that I wore. I think it's the same company even. When I hiked the Appalachian Trail, and it dries super quickly. It looks super stylish. I love it. We got a dead hat shirt on right now, but throw it on, and I will sweat through this. When I get too hot, I will probably open this up. I'll just be like naked underneath with my shirt open and be like, it's so hot, I kind of want to take the shirt off. But like, yeah. But like having button shirts are super nice. I had one that had snaps, so when it was like too hot, I'd be like, and just let the wind hit me. The reason you don't want to keep doing that is because the mosquitoes will start biting your chest. It gets miserable real quick. Oh my goodness. So yeah, we have a nice thing like that. This fleece jacket, the one that I've been wearing the whole time, this would be really great for the trail, but it's like the most basic fleece jacket you can get. It's not windproof. It's not waterproof. I mean, like, fleece jackets, they can put up with all kinds of punishment. But let's see now. There's not really a doubt. Like, it's not windproof. I would get a shell. what I had for my shell when I did my hike is I had a compactable rain jacket. I had a rain jacket that I would wear, and then I would bust it out and I would throw it on. Now, if I was to do it over again, I would get a poncho, or I have a poncho actually. Okay, so for dealing with the rain and the elements, this is what I took. This is a stowable rain jacket. This is it compacted. And it just gets like the hood's there. The hood you can actually take off from this. It's one of those ones that you can unzip. And actually what you're seeing right now is what I wore when it rained. I had my hat on for the rain and I had my jacket on. And what I would mostly do is I would have the sleeves on and I would toss it over top, or I would not even have the sleeves. So I'd have my backpack. And then I would take the rain jacket and I would just have it over top. Like, this is not a full pack, mind you. So, I mean, like, it would be, like, more up here. But that is my rain jacket that I took the whole way. It's starting to, like, it's been doing this, but it's, like, shedding, like, the material underneath. So it's, like, less waterproof now. I mean, like, it's old. It got stowed away, and it got put away wet, and it went 2,000 miles. It did its job. Not all gear is gonna survive you. Not all gear is gonna like last the entire time. Nowadays, if I was to hike it over, I would have one of these. So this is a poncho. And this is what I would wear because this would fit easily over any backpack on my back. There are little buttons. This one, like, they're not great buttons because this one had actually ripped out of this little slot it's supposed to go through the other day when I was using it in the rain. So I kind of have to rethread it every so often. So it does not do well in wind. It's a little like, I mean, like these two facets that you don't even really need. But they're just snaps. And all the snaps do is it just kind of holds the arms in place. You don't need them. A poncho is just enough. You just need enough to like let the water roll off you. And that's how I would handle the rain. Like, I could even, like, make this into a tent. There's, like, there's little loops here that if I had, like, a guideline or tent spokes, I could take my trekking poles. Like, if I had these, I stuck them in the ground because they have pointy bits, and then I tied them down, I could make myself a tent just from this alone. That would be an emergency shelter or just a way to wait out the rain. Easily. One of the last articles of clothing about. Thermals. Taking thermals, such as these, super great during the fall and the spring months. You want to keep warm. One downside, they're great for sleeping in. Not so much for hiking in. Like if it's snow out, you're safer. to wear it, but like you will overheat really quick because you are carrying all the gear and more. Because I've only shown you day hiking gear in my backpack that I would take. Like other stuff, like yeah, you have your stove, you have your sleeping bag. That stuff adds up. So having thermals can be really nice if you're doing a day hike. Like all the stuff so far, great for day hikes. If we're getting into long distance hiking, I would think about these. I would probably take them along for emergencies because you always want more layers. You can always take more layers. I have a backup jacket. This is my backup jacket. It is a down-filled jacket. And I carry this with me a lot of places, even today. And I bought this 30 miles in because I kind of needed this. Absolutely. It is this was also my pillow for a while too. This is what you throw on when you stop moving because you'll be moving in the cold and you'll be super hot. And you'll be taking layers off. You will just start shitting them, even in very cold weather, because you are carrying your heavy pack. You are walking through the mountains. You want to be able to take off layers and put them on. The leg thermals that I showed you, those are harder to take off and on because you are wearing pants. You can't exactly take them off. You have to like take your pants off. Jackets are the easiest thing to grab and throw on and layer up, or to unlayer as you need to see fit, because like it's just super easy to grab that and just take it off. You don't need to take off any extra clothing to do that. So this is a great thing. It is great for having it in between layers. So you'll have this, and then you can take your jacket and throw it on top of it. And then you're extra toasty because you have many layers of insulation. Something to say about down clothing, sleeping bags, whatever. They get their insulation by poofing up. Like when they're flat or compressed, they don't have any insulation. So like you have a sleeping bag and you're laying on top of it. You won't have insulation on your backside because the insulation part is the air pocket in between. And that's what feathers do, is they create those air pockets that give you that insulation. They trap that heat within you. So when something's been compressed a long time, it doesn't give as much insulation. So you always want to like let it breathe. You want to like be able to shake it out to like poof up the feathers again. Or even with synthetic stuff, you want to poof up the insulation again so you can use it. Okay, so before we get into the long distance stuff, and I will probably do that in a different video, let's talk about shoes. So shoes, I recommend boots. My favorite kind of boot is Keen, because they have this wide toe box that is covered. It's steady. You have more room up here, but your heel is snug. I wore a good amount of these. This particular model gets worn out in particular places. Like, let's look at one that's really worn out. So the first thing that'll happen on these, like, because these are like the base model, the ones I'm wearing now are a much higher end. So you'll have like little things that are flipping out. You'll have little bits that are just kind of falling off. Your shoelaces may come like, shoelaces are easy to replace, by the way. So don't worry about the shoelaces so much. You'll get a little bit rips like that, little holes. Let's look at a pair that have really seen some miles. All right. These I destroyed. This pair. So like you see all these back here. Those, I believe, all but like one pair were ones that I wore on the Appalachian Trail. So let's break down what happened to these. So first thing I'm gonna talk about the insoles. These have been replaced a few times. So we'll take one out. These are when you start to get this to happen, you can easily replace them. And that's the easiest way to repair a shoe for a certain amount. Let's look at the bottom of this. Let's see if I can get closer in here. The plastic is coming apart off of this. It's peeling. That's not supposed to happen. I absolutely destroyed these. The heels are just worn down. You can sort of see on this camera just how much of the rubber I have worn off these going those miles. The inside, I don't know if I can even get that on the camera. So right here, there is a puncture that you can see my finger going into it. Plastic is coming out of there, and it's sharp. There's sharp plastic in there, and it jabs you in the heel, in the ball of the heel. Right around. So, oh my goodness, these probably lasted me a good 1,000 miles, 500 to 1,000 miles, and I shattered them. I just obliterated them. Oh yeah, this side. Look at that. That's not supposed to do that. that is destroyed. Oh my goodness. I can feel the plastic on the walls just kind of not being happy. Oh. So, I wore Keens through the whole trail except the Smokies. Because I had one pair of boots that just should not have failed me. And I gave up on these after I got out of the Smokies. I gotta I bought them a little too small because I was in a rush and I was at the outfitter and it's just oh, the shuttle's leaving. I better leave right now. And into the Smokies, I didn't like that it was small, but yeah, okay, I got through them. The second thing, I kicked a rock. You trip over a rock. It left a hole in my shoe, right there. Oh, I was not happy about that. The difference is that these have the huge toe rubber block that, yeah, these boots are heavier than these, I'm sure. But these take a punishment. They have proven themselves time and time again about their durability. And you're just you kick a rock and you bust a shoe, and you're what even am I doing in these? That's my opinion about these shoes in particular. I'm sure there's Merrells that are probably good for somebody. They're too narrow for me. The shoe box. I need that wide toe box. So nowadays, I wear these. They lace up 3 times. Oh, they're so beautiful. Oh my goodness. They do have its hot spots. So yeah, no shoe is going to be 100% perfect. They are going to be heavy. So if you want a light shoe, some hikers really love their light shoes because they don't want to carry the weight. Because your feet are swinging the whole day. And if you have a heavy boot, that just means all the extra energy you have to spend to lift that boot up and move it ahead to walk. So yeah, having a heavy boot, not necessarily the best thing. I like my heavy boots. I like their protection. I like having them. Another point to make. These are waterproof. When you are hiking long distances, you do not want a waterproof boot. For the same reason, you do not want to wear blue jeans on the trail. They will get wet, and they will not dry. the best way to dry waterproof boots is to stick newspaper in them. And you can't exactly do that when you're on the trail on the top of a mountain, walking days from anywhere. And you just like, you got wet boots. You got to put them out in the sun. You got to take out the tongue. Like the inserts. And when you don't have sun for days, you're just walking in sloppy boots. There are days that you are walking in your trail shoes. Trail shoes, real quick, are camp shoes. They're what you wear when you put up your camp. When you put up your tent. Your tent is up. You don't want to be wearing your boots. You want to wear something that lets your feet dry out. Like it could be, well. So your camp shoes are basically flip-flops or Crocs. Most hikers will bring Crocs. I would take a carabiner. I would attach them to my backpack, and then these would just hang off my backpack. And at the end of the day, they go on my feet. And they would dry out my feet. When your boots are too wet for you to wear and you're sick of them, and you will get blisters if you wear wet boots for too long. I've gotten them like in my toes, like blisters, like right in like the crevices. And then you'd be like, those are just water blisters. And you're just like, I hate this so much. So that'll happen. And there'll be days that it's just raining for days on end. So you just get your camp shoes out and you wear them instead of your regular boots until it is sunny and you can dry your boots out again. So that's what camp shoes are. They're like flip-flops or Crocs. You just wear them when you are in camp and you're not going to do any miles. You're just like, I just need something comfortable that is not complicated that I can slip on. All right. So as for socks, for my day hikes, I wear a combination of toe socks and normal socks. So let me talk about these socks for a second. So these are the same brand. These have been worn to heck. They are called Darn Tough, and they're merino wool, and they have lasted. They don't get holes, but they do get thin. So the thing you can do with the thin ones is they make wonderful sock liners. So what I like to do, I like to get my toe socks, which, people can be weird about toe socks, but I used to wear toe shoes, so I'm not one of them. But they're wonderful for one really good reason. Like if you wanted to do, the reason you wear two pairs of socks is to reduce the friction between the boot and your foot, because the friction is the thing that will cause you blisters. If you are not accustomed to walking very much, or it's been a while since the last time you've done a good heavy hike, you will want to put liners in. Two pairs of socks is enough for what you need. But I in particularly like toe socks because it protects the blisters between your toes, because then the friction is protected because each toe is wrapped up in a little bit of fabric. So because my toes, they get to rub up against each other, they will get blisters in between each other. It has happened to me a lot. That's why when I'm like starting out, when I'm like getting back on the trail and it's been in a while, especially if it's been a while, and even when it's like when I'm used to it, I like having toe socks because they protect my feet from my toes, especially from getting blisters in between them. So those are wonderful to wear inside them, inside another pair of socks. These are old socks that I've worn to death. And these are a newer, they still have some cushion in them. They're still kind of thick. They haven't been washed to threadbare like these have. So like these are like medium. They're usually thicker than this when you get them new. And they are wonderful when they're new. So like if you get a new pair of Darn Toughs, they're just wonderful on their own. And I wear them like every day. I mean, like whenever I wear shoes, I'm wearing them. But yeah, Like, not all toe socks are the same. Some are more durable than others. This brand is in Gingy, and I think I've gotten one pair of toe socks that did not hold up well. Like, and that was when I was hiking, and I was like, I want to get more toe socks because I think tried to take my toe shoes with me for my camp shoes, and that did not work out. That did not work out. I just traded up for like sandals. So, sock liners, inside socks, great for building up your feet. So you build up your feet toughness to protect against blisters and hot spots. I mean, like, that is a wonderful thing to do when you're out hiking. When you're out getting ready to hike and you're just doing day hikes and you just don't want to like destroy your feet because you will, it'll happen. Especially for boots that you're breaking in, new boots, that'll absolutely happen. All right. I think that's about it, what I want to talk about for day hiking. There's probably a lot that I'm not covering right now that I can probably cover on a different day. Future stuff we can talk about is my journey through the Appalachian Trail. I have my trail guide. We can talk about that. As I mentioned in the beginning of the thing, I have different sleeping bags that I can like go over why they're good. There's other gear that you want to be considering when you're going for hikes. But yeah, so stuff that's in my day pack, I would take the poncho if I'm expecting rain. I always want to check the weather before I leave the house to know what I'm dealing with, how cold it's going to be. And I kind of want to always let somebody know where you're going and how long you're going to be. It's just for safety. People can get trapped in the mountain, and if nobody knows where you are at, they can't send help. It's just let somebody know where you are, what you're doing, and how long it's going to take you. Like where the trailhead is, how many miles you're planning to do, and when you plan to be back, and what part of the section of the trail you're planning to be on, because that could mean a whole difference if people can find you quickly, when you're supposed to be somewhere else and they're like, oh my goodness, they are not back yet. Yeah, it's because you're outdoors. Outdoors can be unpredictable at times. You never know when something like weather can turn bad real quick and you get stuck, and that's why you always have some food with you. You have some kind of extra clothing just in case. I mean, like, I'm a little bit more worried than most because like I've been through a lot of weather. So yeah, a normal person's 2 mile hike is not my 2 mile hike. I want to have all that gear. I want to have a stove with me. I want to like have a water filter with me because I know I'm gonna walk this much and I can get more water if I need it. And that's a powerful thing. It's like like, yeah, okay, I might run out of water. I might drink more water than I mean to. And it's like, oh, I know there's water up ahead. I can get it water from there. I know how to get it safely. That is important. Is safety, knowing what you're dealing with. Getting experience doing this stuff is always important because you'll never know when you need to understand how much you need for doing certain things. And it's just better to be safe and when you go out into this wilderness out there, because the wilderness is beautiful, but it's dangerous, but it's worth it. In my opinion, I walked 2,000 miles across mountains. Of course, I think it's worth it. It's tremendously hard. It's taxing on your body, and I love it. And I wish I was out there every day hiking because the people out there are wonderful. The people who are hiking with you are some of the best people you'll ever meet because they're going through the same terrible conditions you are. I mean, like there was one day I was hiking out there, and it's pouring buckets. I'm out in the middle of a cornfield, probably not corn. It was just a field on a mountain, farmland, lightning shooting out overhead. And I'm like, I am this many miles to my shelter. And a shelter is like a 3-walled building. It's an open building. And I'll talk about that another day, what the shelters actually are. And I'll actually go to a shelter and I will break down shelters. But shelters are a safe place in a storm. It's not the safest place, but like in lightning, yeah, it is much safer to be in that building than out in the middle of I'm just walking along. It's like, there's not much else I can do but just keep going. I am holding these metal trekking poles in my hands. It's like I'm kind of a lightning rod here. Oh my goodness. Oh, I miss it. All right, you guys. Well, you have a wonderful day, and I will get back to you with my next video. All right, bye-bye.